Hey, it's your friend in the neighborhood Taco, swinging back at you with another video. Today I'm bringing you guys a brand new, not brand new, but I'm bringing you guys a new movie. It's a series made on my channel a while back. I will give you the backstory in the video because I'm sure that I do some sort of intro in every different part of the video, but it's Crime Lord Deku and it's a really good series. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. Let me know what you're thinking about it in the comments below, and I will see you in the future.
Izuku Midoriya, huh? He's the son of the young one. He's a little bit too young to be making moves, isn't he? Anyway. I like it anyway. Quirk of his being able to spawn any weapon. If I had a power like his.
Yo, you guys ready? Yeah, are you ready? Let's go. This is a live what if I'm making with some members from my live stream, some members from the chat, and we all came up with this idea together. So yeah, let's get right into it. What if Deku was a crime lord? In this what if, Deku is an heir to a crime family. His father is the head of this crime family. He is the boss of it. This explains a lot of Deku's backstory, explains a lot of his past, and explains a lot about the reason his father is seemingly out of his life. In this what if, Midoriya is born with a quirk. His quirk is really weird. It has no correlation to his father or his mother's. Midoriya's quirk in this what if is a quirk I like to call Mystic Summon. This quirk gives Deku the ability to summon any weapon from any universe. He even has the ability to spawn the Infinity Gauntlet. This ability comes with a lot of drawbacks, however. Deku, while yes having the ability to spawn any weapon from any universe, can't spawn them at will. It is very random. The choices that he makes aren't really choices at all. A weapon just ends up plopping into Deku's hand whenever he activates his quirk. Whenever Deku gets a weapon, he understands multiple ways to use his weapon and is a complete master on it. This is kind of like Kite's ability from Hunter x Hunter, except for Deku doesn't really have to train with a certain weapon, since every weapon he gets is random. Of course, Deku will be switching these weapons throughout the fight. Each weapon has a certain time limit, and these time limits are really random as well. For more overpowered and strong weapons, the time limit is shorter. For weaker weapons and, you know, more standard weapons, the time limit will be higher. He also has a limit on the amount of weapons and the amount of times he can use his quirk. At the beginning of the series, the amount of times he can use his quirk will be around 5 until he's completely burnt out. Armor and artifacts also count as some of Deku's summons. For example, Deku could be trying to, you know, summon a weapon, and he ends up just getting a ring on his finger. His quirk manifests around the same time when every other kid's quirk is starting to manifest at school. He grows up with his quirk. He learns with it. For this reason, he isn't really bullied. Deku grows up without his father around him. His father is, of course, running the family business in the background. Deku doesn't know this, and honestly, he doesn't really care. He grows up with his mom just like in canon. Deku in this what if, however, is personality-wise altered, to say the least. He has an incredibly cool quirk. At school, him and Bakugo are some of the two coolest people. Him and Bakugo also have kind of a close relationship. For this reason, Deku didn't really get time to train with his quirk, to comfort, to neuter with his quirk, to grow with his quirk, a lot like how Bakugo did. I mean, think about it. If your child could spawn a tactical nuke at any time, I don't think you would want him using the power either. So Deku grows up without ever actually training with his quirk. It's time for him to go to middle school, and in middle school, him and Bakugo kind of distance themselves a little bit, but they're still really good friends. Deku is, of course, mesmerized by heroes. He is kind of even more mesmerized by heroes in this because he actually has a quirk and actually can become one. He doesn't really study them as much in this what if, however. Deku still has aspirations of becoming a UA student. He still wants to go to UA. Of course, the slime villain encounter never really happens, and All Might saves the day. Blah 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 blah. Fast forward to the UA entrance exam. This is one of Deku's first times actually using his quirk to really fight with. This is his first time actually practicing it in combat. The written exam goes like in canon, but the fighting round is a little bit different. Deku is physically unhealthy. I mean, he is exactly the way he was at the beginning of the story, you know? He's a Izuku Midoriya. Deku preps to activate his quirk, but it's been such a long time since he done it, he really can't remember how to. All the other kids burst off and start fighting, while Deku is just there trying to figure out a way to activate his stupid ability. He is kind of just a sitting duck waiting to be attacked by a robot at this point. A robot draws near to Deku, and he's kind of panicking right now. His damn ability won't activate, and it keeps on getting closer and closer until finally he figures it out. He knows how to activate his stupid quirk. A lens flare pops from Deku's hand, and he sees the end of a sword sticking out of his left hand. With his right hand, he pulls the sword out. It's a short-bladed katana, and Deku has never even seen a weapon like this before, but for some reason, he knows exactly what to do with it. The robot's getting closer, and Deku gets into a stance, kind of like a trained samurai. He bursts forward towards the robot like a ninja on the prowl, and stabs it. He stabs it right through its chest, and with a zap, it's down. Deku then moves on. He cuts another one down, and another one down. Deku is now hopping from robot to robot to robot like a pinball. He is now running through the exam with relative ease. That's when the 0-point robot appears. Deku's initial reaction is to run as far as possible away from the robot, but he can't do that. He hears a cry. It's Yurako, of course. Every instinct in Deku's body is telling him to turn around. He is not well equipped enough for this, but in his heart, he hears the words of All Might. He wants to be a hero. He wants to save her, but he just can't. He gives up. He turns around, katana in hand, and begins to walk away. He's walking away from being a hero. When snap, something happens inside of him. He listens to his heart. He turns back around, and he bursts off towards the robot. He sprints. He's fast, and he catches up with the robot easily. He is now ready to fight. He goes towards the robot and is ready to strike it when his sword disappears. He jumps back in a fit of confusion and looks down at his hands. They're completely empty. What the hell? His time limit was up. He had to spawn another weapon, and he focused on how he focused to spawn it before, and poof, he spawns gauntlets on both of his hands. These gauntlets help him punch a lot harder than he would before, and they take the impact really well. They also have clawed fingertips, so he can claw the robot's metal away. This is perfect for the situation. He goes back into his fighting stance and bursts back towards the robot. His plan is to take it down. He climbs up it with the claws, and he scurries up until he just simply gets knocked off. He hits the ground with a big thud. There isn't much he could do at this moment, so he tries a new tactic. He runs around him. He tries to, but he's so disoriented. The robot just simply kicks him away. It's really kicking Deku's ass at the moment. He knows he can do nothing to it. He has to approach this in a different way, and then he realizes that Uraraka is still trapped. Deku isn't really being a hero in this, is he? He's trying to get himself killed. He takes a moment to realize what he's doing wrong, runs back towards Uraka. He saves her, crawls her off from underneath the rock, and runs away with her. He gets away from the robot, at least decently away from the robot, and has a chance to put Uraka down. She thanks him for saving him, and really, the exam ends. Nobody really does anything to the robot. The robot is still there. It's still alive. The entrance exam time's out and everyone goes home. Deku is of course accepted into UA. He passes the entrance exam with flying colors along with saving Uraka. It's really icing and a cherry on top of the cake. Over the summer break, Deku trains his quirk. He starts to get used to it. He starts spawning weapons. He starts testing out time weapons, and he starts really becoming more akin to it. It's time for the school year to begin. He goes to UA with newfound determination. He is going to become a great hero. He is going to become a great. He really is. He really believes it. Deku, on the first day, walks into class. He sees Bakugo, who of course got accepted, and walks straight over towards him. Deku, and this is going to sit next to Bakugo. Bakugo doesn't really want him to, but he can't really say much, can he? Uraka thanks Deku for saving her, and a lot of things go like in canon. Everything else goes like in canon. Mr. Aizawa is introduced, and the quirk apprehension test begins. Deku passes the quirk apprehension test. Nothing really special happens. He just does better than Mineta. Deku's days in UA go a lot like in canon, until one day, Deku comes home from school. His mother is really sad for some reason. It's odd. Deku asks her what's up, and she breaks the news to him that his father had died. Deku would have to take on so much responsibility. Deku would have to change. Deku would have to become a crime lord. Guys, this is what if Deku was a crime lord. You know, me and the stream, you know, we made it. Yeah, stream gang. If you guys like this, you know, obviously, like, comment, subscribe. You know, tell me if you want to see part 1. Tell me if you want me to make this into an official series. Because if this part 0 doesn't really go anywhere, I'm afraid that we're gonna have to stop it. But you know, come on, show some love. Like, comment, subscribe, all that fun jazz, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. Before we go, I have to say something really quick. I've started a Patreon. You know, if you want to, you know, check it out, support it. Go ahead, do that. If you don't, lol, I got trolled. But, you know, go check it out. I've also got, you know, a Discord server. Go down. I put the Discord server in the link. Go down to the Discord server. Let's try to get it active again. You know, we've got around 70 plus people in it. You know, I'm gonna be starting to become more active with my subs again. So yeah, let's get that happening. Also, you know, come into the streams because I'm going to be doing a lot of the streams. My next stream is probably going to be me either reading fan fiction or making another what if. So, you know, if you want to make another what if you want to read some fan fiction, if you want to show me some art, you can always pop in the stream, get in the chat with the other guys, other gals. I don't know if any gals watch my video, other guys. And, you know, check me out. Yo, you guys ready? Yeah, are you ready? Let's go. This is a live what if I'm making with some members from my live stream, some members from the chat, and we all came up with this idea together. So yeah, Dora's quirk in this what if is a quirk I like to call Mystic Summon. This quirk gives Deku the ability to summon any weapon from any universe. He even has the ability to spawn the Infinity Gauntlet. This ability comes with a lot of drawbacks. However, Deku, while yes having the ability to spawn any weapon from any universe, can't spawn them at will. It is very random. The choices that yo, what's up? It is me, Biguchi Taco. Editing Biguchi here. I'm editing this before I drop the video. I'm sorry for it being late. I really am. I will never miss a deadline again. I'm sorry, guys. Where was I? Oh, so yeah, this is what if Deku was a crime lord part 1. I just want to say this really quickly. Thank you guys for all the support on what if Deku was a crime lord part 0. I was not actually expecting that, to have that much support from, of course, the Biguchi Taco fans, but that's much support from people outside of our, you know, little Biguchi Taco family. You know, welcome to the army. You know, hit that sub button if you're watching this. Hit that sub button. Right now we're close to 2K. By the time I post this, we'll probably be like a few subs away from 2K. So, you know, show some love. Let's get me to 2K. Let's get the army to 2K. Okay, so where we last left off, Deku was just told that his father died. Midoriya then says to his mother, "What? I don't understand." His mother responds with, "Your father, he's passed away." How? When? News just came to me this morning before you left school. I couldn't tell you before you left school because I didn't want to ruin your day, but he's passed. Midoriya didn't want to seem selfish, but he couldn't help but saying it. He had to say, "What's gonna happen to us? He's the one who's providing all the money for our family, right? What are we gonna do without him?" Midoriya's mother responded with, "We're gonna be fine. There's some people here that want to see you, Midoriya." "Who?" "Some of your father's associates. They want to talk to you about some prospects for your future. Listen, be open-minded, yeah?" Deku nods his head and his mother leaves the room. When she comes back in the room, she is joined with 3 fellows behind her. One of these people Midoriya immediately recognized. It was his friend, Joshua Grimm. I know, weird name for a Japanese person, but listen, this is a character that me and the stream came up with together. It's actually based off of one of the people in the stream, and he said he wanted his name to be Joshua Grimm. So I guess we'll just make him a foreigner, somebody who's from, I don't know, an English-speaking country who came over to Japan when he was young. But the other 2, Midoriya had no idea who they were. Joshua was his best friend when he was a kid. Midoriya remembers that, but one day he suddenly disappeared, and he never heard from Joshua again. Joshua immediately starts to walk towards Midoriya, and he says, "You're a lot shorter than I remember." He is immediately cut off when a strange-looking guy behind him steps forward and says, "Hello, my name is Shinobu, and we want to talk to you about who you are." Shinobu talks to Midoriya for about 2 hours, and he tells him about everything, how his father was a crime lord and how he is next in line to the crime family. Midoriya denies all of this. He says, "I don't want to be a crime lord. I don't want to be head of this family. My dream is to be here. I go to UA High." He spouts all of this, and the others aren't listening. They aren't going for it. They tell him simply that he must come back with them, that he has to abandon everything he has at home and live a new life. They agree to let him go to UA still, but he would have to put the crime family in front of everything else. Midoriya reluctantly agrees. There's also another thing that he had to agree to. He had to agree to somebody having eyes on him at all times. Midoriya says goodbye to his mom and heads back with the other 3 to his newfound lair, his new home. He's really just doing this to provide money to his family. He doesn't really care that much about the crime family. He's just doing it so his mom can live. So Midoriya sleeps that night. He sleeps in his father's old bedroom, and it's kind of surreal. There's so many pictures of him as a baby hung up, and those 3 just being family together. It's kind of odd. He comes to the realization that his father loved him and his mother very much, and it must have pained him every day, every second that they were away from each other. Deku awakens with Joshua Grimm looking over him diligently. He's really freaked out at this, but Joshua says, calm down. Look, listen, I'm just doing what I'm told. You know, I'm still that cool kid, you know, that you remember. You remember my quirk? Yeah, I remember your quirk, and it's kind of hard for me to forget, Deku says. Joshua Grimm had the ability of giving a supercharged slap. It only worked with his slaps though. His punches were still pretty weak, but his slaps, however, were on an entirely different level. One of his slaps could probably bend the universe at full power. He also had the ability to control anyone that he slapped. However, this ability had a massive cooldown. He could only slap somebody once or twice a day. If he does it more than that, his hand will probably just break off. So, you know my ability, Joshua says, and yet still I'm taking orders, right? That's how you know I am a great employee, and I am a great person. Midoriya says, so, you're an employee of my father. How did that even happen? Joshua just looks down. He looks down and he has this grim look on his face. He looks back up and he says, you don't have to worry about that. Shinobu then bursts into the room and he says, come on, let's go. You have to get ready for school, right? It's time for the Battle Dross arc. Midoriya and Uraraka are paired up along with Kachan and Tanya. Like in canon, Bakugo storms off, but instead of like in canon, he storms off because he really wants to get into a fight with Deku. He's never actually been into a battle with Deku before, and he's bursting at the seams with excitement to do so. Deku and Kachan meet. Deku had told Uraraka to go find the bomb. He knew that Bakugo, being as brash as he is, would come after him, and didn't want to get Uraraka that much involved in it. Bakugo said to Deku, you better have been training your quirk. Deku responds with a massive explosion. Deku had already activated his quirk, and what spawned was a rocket launcher. Deku let a rocket go at Bakugo, and it blew him up at the seams. Bakugo remained unscathed from the explosion. He had blown up the rocket before it hit him. Midoriya was now out of ammo, and his quirk could not make weapons that he spawned go away. It was on a set time limit. He would have to bob and weave and try his best to evade Bakugo's attacks until the rocket launcher disappeared. That's what he did. He somehow held on, but throughout it all, he was super scathed. And when the rocket launcher finally disappeared, right when the time limit was about to expire, he was ready. He was determined. He had to get a strong weapon or else he would die. Midoriya spawned a lightsaber. All of a sudden, a green lightsaber shot into Midoriya's hands. Midoriya had full knowledge of the Force and how to use the lightsaber in combat. Midoriya was surprised, and with all this knowledge, he honestly felt like a god. Midoriya charged forward towards Bakugo. Bakugo let off an explosion, and using the Force, Midoriya pushed that explosion back. He used the lightsaber to really scare Bakugo away, causing him to push himself into a corner. This is where Midoriya could use the Force to push Bakugo back and drag him across the arena. Bakugo was super weirded out by this. It was really weird. He was screaming for help while he was out in the air, and he kind of submit. Yes, Deku made Bakugo quit. He quit fighting. He admitted that he lost. Deku put his lightsaber away, and he went towards Ida, looking for him. He found Ida. He said, "Listen, I don't want to fight you. Just give up the bomb, okay?" Ina, being incredibly into his role playing, would not, of course, give Deku the bomb. Deku just used the Force to move Ida away. This gave Uraraka the chance to come in, pop in, and grab the bomb. They won. I mean, he got to his new home, and he was greeted by those three again. Shinobu came up to him and said, "Great job at school today, kid. You really knocked the ball out of the park. But for a minute there, you had me really scared, That quirk of yours, something. Your old man, he had something like that. Perhaps I'll tell you about it later, but for now, you've got a lot to do. Kid, there's a reason that we're watching you. When you sleep, when you're at school, even now we have multiple people watching you talk to us. There's a reason that your mother let you go so easily, without even a fight. That reason is your father. You never learned how he died, did you? He was killed. And the killer, he's not going to stop there. He's going to want to kill you too." Well, guys, that's all for this part. This series is still kind of iffy to me. I don't know if you guys really want part 2 after finding out what happened in this part. Let me know if I did a good job on this part. Come on. Hopefully I did. But yeah, if you guys want part 3, you already know what to do. And also, I'm gonna be making a stream for part 3 of this. So if you guys want to become a character, be a part of the crime family, or be an opposing family or something like that, pull up to the stream, get to the chat, give me ideas. Boom, boom, boom. You already know. Like the video if you want to see the series going. Comment the video. And, subscribe. All that fun jazz. Peace. Last off, our series' original character, Shinobu, was informing Midoriya about the context behind the death of Izuku's father. We picked the story back up where Shinobu is explaining this to Midoriya. He tells Midoriya that the death of his father was a murder committed by another crime lord. He didn't tell Deku why this person murdered his father, but he tells him the name of this person. He says the person's name is Kai Shizaki. He's known in the Underworld as Overhaul. Shinobu then explains to Midoriya how Overhaul is making moves now. He then explains that ever since the arrival of All Might, the Underworld's power on society has dwindled. He tells Deku that once there was a ruler of the Underworld. Shinobu explains that the crime family that he now controls was actually very close to the once ruler. He doesn't go into full details about anything he covers. He just informs Midoriya that he must buckle down and he must man up to become the leader of his family, or else he'll end up just like his father, dead. This rubs Deku the wrong way, but he doesn't come out and say it yet. He just gives Shinobu a look that says, "Come on, you went too far." Shinobu then says that there are many more things that you need to know in order to properly rule. But now, it's not the time for it. he then says, I will tell you about the things. I will tell you about some of the goals your father had set for himself before he died. He tells Midoriya the largest and the most lofty of them, being to kill Kai Shizaki, ruler of the Shizaki, in order for him then to make a move to become the new ruler of the Underworld. Soon, Izuku, he says, you will be granted full responsibility to the syndicate, and I mean very, very soon. In a few weeks' time, you will be told everything to do with the family and everything else surrounding that of this organization. You will have full responsibility over this organization. Do you understand? He says. Think on your goals, what you would do next, and the context surrounding your moves, he says. Then he follows this up with, let me tell you this. I believe in your father. I believed in his goals. And I believed in what he wanted this organization to become. Really, I want to believe in you. That's all, he says. Joshua, he then calls for. And Joshua Grimm, the character that we established in the last part, walks back into the room. It's bedtime. Bye, Izuku. Shinobu then leaves, and then Deku is taken back to his room where he sleeps. He wakes up and heads to school, where he's told about the class and their training at the USJ. Everything goes like in canon with the League, a villain's attack, all that. Deku responds differently this time, however, because, his quirk is completely different. Okay, when the villains are closing in on him on the boat, with everyone else, Mineta, Froppy, he reached down instead of, going to think of a plan. He grabbed the lightsaber. Okay, since Midoriya hadn't used the weapon that he, activated last part for its intended purpose, combat, the timer on his quirk had paused. Okay, now follow me. The timer on his quirk paused, allowing him to keep the weapon along the side of him with the full mastery of its uses and the surrounding abilities. So he still knew how to use the force, everything like that, until where he would pop the lightsaber out like he's doing now and use it for its intended purpose. That's when the timer would resume. Okay, so he pops the lightsaber out and he uses the force to repel and defeat the villains who he had come up against, wiping the floor with them. It's really easy to him to build, beat these low-level villains with a lightsaber and the force. Eventually the lightsaber's timer is depleted, and by the time that's gone, his foes were already disposed of. Like in canon, the gang, they arrive on the shore where they saw Aizawa fighting the Nomu. Okay, now Deku, of course, he wants to, go and save his teacher, save his sensei, save Aizawa. But Aizawa ends up going through exactly what happened, like in canon, until All Might arrives. Izuku is beating himself up the entire time, and the battle, as he feels he's not a real hero. I mean, he couldn't save his teacher. His quirk was not able to activate because he just used it. So there was a massive timer, because, the lightsaber was a powerful weapon, so there has to be a massive timer on it. And he couldn't save his teacher. He started thinking about things. Things started swirling in his mind about how he's a crime boss, about how some bastard killed his father, ruined his family life, ruined his chances to become a hero, ruined his relationship with his mother. It all came down on him hard. And Deku started to think that day that, maybe he wasn't meant to be a hero. And then it would be All Might who took those thoughts away from him. All Might defeated the Nomu with the same smile he showed in canon and with the same pride he showed in canon. This gives Deku a sense of hope that maybe he still could be a hero. However, a seed of doubt, one of evil, had just been planted in Izuku's heart. Anyway, that's it, folks. Tell me in the comments why you think that Shizaki killed Deku's dad, and what does Shinobu know about the Underworld? About All For One. Do you guys think Deku is gonna become evil? And tell me in the comments if you want more. If you want more, I will try to make this next part longer. This part wasn't that long. Sorry about that, guys. But, get in the comments, theorize. Every comment helps me. Every like helps me. So, yeah. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, all the fun jazz, and peace. If you guys want to see me live stream, because, this is a part that originally started on a live stream. If you guys want to see me live stream again, come to the live stream. And before I go, I actually have to say something. I want to give a massive shout out to this creator that I've been watching recently. His name is Dragon Ball Dad. I will put his link in the description. I've been watching him, and this guy has been grinding for a long time, and he makes some actually really good videos, really good theories and things like that about anime. And man, you guys need to go check him out. He's been doing YouTube for a long time. He actually knows a lot of the creators that you guys came up on, like Broku and Plus Ultraman and Smugstick. A lot of the creators that you guys probably came up on, he's probably encouraged to start making it, so he deserves some of that. And I can't believe I have more subs than him. I feel like he needs more subs than me. Go and get get down there and show him some love, please. Tell him that Big Uchi sent you if you do go, but if you don't want to go, that's respectable, but please go check him out. But Dragon Ball Dad, great creator. He's been doing interviews with Plus Ultraman, Broku, Carthu's Dojo, a bunch of people. He is just, putting out really good content. Go check him out. Anyway, guys, peace, like I said before. Yo, I'm back for another video, guys. Today I'm going to be bringing you guys What If Deku Was a Crime Lord Part 4. Anyway, let's get into the video. Where we last left off, a seed of doubt had been placed in Midoriya's mind. Is he really a hero? Or should he go down the path his father took? The one people around him are pressuring him to take. The path his father died following. It's a tough decision to make, so Midoriya doesn't make it. He pushes it down the bottom of his mind for now. Midoriya gets back home, and by home I mean his house, with his mother and everything. He was told on the way back towards the temporary lair that the crime family would start prepping to move out of the temporary lair and move back to their prior location in the city, very far away from his mother. This is one of the reasons why Deku's dad seemingly was never there in his life and seemingly didn't visit him that often, because the location that he was based in was just too far away from Deku to just go back and forth so often. So they told him that he should get to enjoy the time with her while he could. He would still be checked in on by members of the organization, but until they were ready for him to move in full time, he should stay with his mother. Deku of course jumps on this chance and stays for another few months until notified by a member that his presence would be needed. As we know, for the next few days at UA, Midoriya would be prepping for the UA Sports Festival, so that's what he does. Training distracts Deku from everything going on in his life and is a release from the tension of his situation. Deku does so well training, he gets in the best possible physical shape that he could be in that short amount of time. In just that short amount of period, a few days or a few weeks at the most, Deku was comparable to how he was after completing All Might's training in the original story. So we all know that he's very built, very athletic, and at tip-top performance shape. In the sports festival, however, nothing really changes much in this scenario. Class 1B hates 1A, and the story just continues. The race in the sports festival is, however, different. It just changes over a little bit. Midoriya, his quirk being the way it is a lot harder for him, to take the same approach he did in the original. His quirk being the way it is might force him to take on, something different. Deku preps for the race knowing that this might not be the area where he's the greatest, but he still gives it his all and tries the best to think of a weapon that would be useful in this situation. However, due to what we just discussed, his inner turmoil, everything coming back to him, and all that other stuff that's just going on in his life, he can't seem to focus on getting a good weapon, and he draws a dud. The weapon that appeared in Deku's hand appeared to be like nothing special. It looked simply like a basic combat knife, and the race would begin. Bakugo and Todoroki burst off explosively like in the original, grasping all the attention from the crowd at the sports festival, while Deku was running traditionally in the background. Now, Deku in this What If is not as nearly smart as he was in the original, because Deku the original is quirkless, doesn't have the power to act on himself, so he trained his mind instead of training his body and instead of training a quirk that he could have. So yeah, he's not as smart as he was in the original. So he doesn't come up with any smart tactics or anything like that. He just runs. He just has to run. Deku comes in nearly dead last in the race. Right now he's feeling it again, like he wasn't supposed to be a hero, like he was not meant for it. But with the next event on the horizon, that took his mind off of that entire scenario for a while. He had to get a squad, and that's the thing that was precedent to him, so that's what he did. And he looked for a squad that could help him. He actually asked Bakugo, as they were a little bit closer friends in middle school and stuff, so he asked Bakugo if he wanted to be in the squad together, but Bakugo denies him, saying that he would never ever get help from Midoriya. So now Deku is teamless. He is struggling to find a team. that would take him. He goes around, just scouting out, asking, but each team seems to already be set up and everybody seems to already have, their own little clique and their own little thing going on. So Deku struggles to find one. He's just walking around, at the sports festival, just with his head down, just asking, yo, can I be in a team with you guys? He eventually ends up in a team with Todoroki, who had end up winning the race, and therefore has, the 1,000,000 points on his head. So, yeah, Deku informs Todoroki that his quirk still isn't available for him for another 2 minutes, because we all know, in this what if, Deku's quirk works on a cooldown system of 15 minutes every time he spawns a weapon for just 5. That's a massive drawback. So, it's still not going to be available to him for another 2 minutes. They start, Deku's struggling, him and Todoroki are having to defend themselves really hard. The other guy on their team seemingly isn't really pulling his own weight. So Deku and Todoroki really have to grind it out. Todoroki on top, Deku is, holding Todoroki and trying to defend him. It's really weird, it's a really hard situation, and they are really on the back foot. Todoroki does as much as he can possible with his, his amazing quirk and all that stuff, but it's not really going well for him. It's not really going well for Deku and Izuku, and as the time, comes down and everybody's getting points and stuff, they still haven't even gotten points. They're just trying to defend themselves, and, something really terrible happens. Tokiyami grabs the headband and he goes off. This is really a hard thing to do, and these last 2 minutes Deku has really been struggling, and finally the timer was up. He felt like, yeah, I can use my quirk again. He felt this power coming back to him, and he uses his quirk. He activates his quirk and he actually gets like a grappling hook. That is so clutch in this situation. That's something that he would really need to grab Tokiyami and grab that headband back off of him, and he shoots that grappling hook, and it actually lands on the headband, and he's pulling it back towards himself when it's all over. That buzzer rings and that's it. However, the third guy who was on the team did end up getting a few headbands, so that was really good. So they didn't come in dead last, but they still lost 1,000,000 points. Deku is dropping to like dead last right now. He barely made it to the final round, but he made it. Tokiyami is clutch and he wins it. He wins all of it. He is in the first round of the finals, doing great. We move on now to the tournament brackets. They aren't all that different from the original, but they are different brackets. They are different. The first matchup is between Tokiyami and Shinzu. So I think we all know how this is gonna go. Shinzo is gonna find a way to get Tokiyami to talk, and when he does, Tokiyami unfortunately falls to Shinzo. So yeah, Shinzo beats Tokiyami. We move on past that point to Denki versus Ibra, and Denki still loses to Ibra. Nothing really changes there. Ibra's still just OP and just smacks him with her quirk easily. Ida still faces up against Mei, who advertises her support items just like in the original, and Deku gets ready for a rematch. So now, due to him not getting as many points, just barely scraping by to enter the finals, Deku is matched up against a different opponent, Bakugo, and Bakugo is out for Deku for embarrassing him the last time they fought. This fight is going to be a great one. Between Deku and Bakugo, these guys are really strong, so I for one can't wait for them to fight. Well guys, that's it for this video. If you want to see the next part of this what if, you already know what to do. Comment, subscribe, like, all that. And if you're not a part of the Discord already, let me advertise it to you one more time. You see, this Discord, it's a little bit dead right now, and you could be the driving force that helps to revive it. Me and the guys, we have a lot of fun there. We only started our own Minecraft server, so that's pretty fun. And we just chill and stuff. I hop in voice chat with the guys all the time. We have a lot of channels. We even have a lot of bots that we play with. You can even come on there and play me in mobile games like DB Legends and other cool anime games like that. So if you do want to talk to me, recommend me what ifs, talk about anime, have discussions with other like-minded individuals, you already know where to go. Right down there is the link to my Discord server where you can talk to other like-minded individuals. Question me on what ifs, have anime discussions with me, and all that stuff I just mentioned. That's the answer to all your problems, the answer to all your quals, and all that stuff. The Big Uchi Taco Discord server. Anyway, like always guys, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun jazz. Peace. Yo, what's good everybody? It's your boy Biggie Shitako and I'm back with another video, guys. And today I'm gonna bring you guys What If Deku Was a Crime Lord episode 1. This episode will cover parts 5, 6. If you haven't seen the series before, make sure to go back in the description where I will leave a link to the previous parts. This series is really one of my favorites and it's really hard to write. So leaving a like and subscribing would be very appreciated. Anyway guys, I don't want to hold you up for too long. Let's get straight to the video. Roll the intro. Part 5. Where we last left off, Midoriya was coming face to face with Bakugo in the sports festival 1v1s. The fight will begin with Midoriya using his quirk to spawn a weapon. Midoriya gets a glove. This glove allows him to cast barriers that can stop Bakugo's blasts, and he also learns how to use the glove to form a barrier around his fists and punch Bakugo with it. It allows his punches to be a lot harder and a lot more hitting than it would in the original, with just his fist. Deku would burst off with a fury of punches at Bakugo, who doesn't want to lose to Deku for a second time, so Bakugo would try his hardest to not lose. He uses one of his best attacks to shatter Midoriya's barrier, fire a massive fire blast at Midoriya. As the smoke clears, Deku begins to look up at Bakugo, who stands over him. Deku looks up at Bakugo, and he only sees him with a face of victory. The arena is silent, but Bakugo does something to catch everybody in the arena's hearts. Bakugo, who had just been getting beaten the entire fight, throws up his clenched fist, and the crowd erupts. Bakugo goes on to beat Todoroki with pure energy. Deku watches all of this from the medical room as he's given a cast and is told to rest. Bakugo had blew Deku's shoulder out of place. Deku has been forced to watch Bakugo push Todoroki to the edge of the ring. Todoroki throws a massive shield of ice to open up the fight, but Bakugo blows through it. Just like he blew through Midoriya's barrier, he grabs Todoroki and slams him on the ground outside of the ring. Todoroki lands on his back. Bakugo had done it again. The underdog of this fight had just beaten Todoroki Shoda, the son of the number 2 hero. Deku watches on as Bakugo revels in glory. He looks down depressingly. Time passes. Deku leaves UA very late, around 9 PM at night. Walking home, he notices a sketchy looking van following him. He realizes this and a chase ensues. Deku was chased through the city. He weaves through the buildings of the city, the corners, but eventually the van catches up to Midoriya and he gets kidnapped. Deku wakes up in a warehouse. He overhears the people holding him captive talking about all kinds of stuff. They say, "Is that him?" "Yeah, it's the kid. I bet we can get some real money off this kid." Deku overhears all of this until the big boss, as the captives call him, appears. He was a large man. He stood around 6 foot tall, but he was massively overweight. He says, "No, you idiots. Why did you capture him?" "We saw him walking around and thought, why not?" The big boss responds saying, "No. Do you know what Shinobu would do to us? You have to get rid of him now." "How will we, big boss? If we put him out on the street, Shinobu will surely know." "He has to disappear. If he gets back to Shinobu, we are done for. He has to go." That's when Deku heard something behind him. He looks behind him to see. "What are you doing here, Brand?" Brand was one of Midoriya's bodyguards. He only really talked to Midoriya once, but there was something about Brand to Midoriya. He seemed different. It was Brand. "Shinobu told you we were watching the whole time," he says. Brand then says, "Shh, we're getting out of here." Brand begins to cut Deku free when the thugs walked into the room. Deku then sneakily tries to stab the thug by hiding the knife that Brand was using to cut him free. "You can't escape," the thug says. He then punches Deku in the gut, causing the knife to drop out of Midoriya's hand. The other thug then moves to pick up the dagger that Brand was using to cut Deku free. "Let's teach him a lesson. He thinks he can escape? He thinks he can stab me?" They then begin to beat on Deku, kicking him in his dislocated shoulder, punching him to the brink of unconsciousness. Deku was bleeding profusely, laying on the ground, reeling in pain. "Why?" Deku says. "Why?" He feels his life slowly drifting away with each kick, with each punch, with each attack they land on Midoriya. He feels it slipping. "Why?" Thugs in the background. "Alright, let's end this before the big boss gets mad." One of the thugs then pull out a gun and point it at Midoriya's head, who's on the ground. "Go ahead, shoot him." The thug who points the gun, however, can't bring himself to do it. "I don't know, man. I can't shoot a kid." You're such a weakling. Just shoot him." Nah, man. I can't do it. Give it here." "Kill the brat." The thug then grabs the pistol from his friend. He then cocks the pistol back, points it at Deku's head, and fires it off with a bang. Deku opens his eyes to see the thug. He had a massive hole where his chest was. The wall behind him was on fire. Deku then looks back to see Brand with rocks in his hands. What? The other thug went for the gun, grabbing it and shooting at Brand with another loud bang. The thug had a hole where his chest was. Let's leave. Deku is zoned out, staring at the bodies of the thugs. The ring of the gunshots are left in his ears. Izuku, we have to go! Brand puts the tips of his fingers on the rope that kept Deku tied up, and the rope spontaneously caught on fire and combusted off of Deku's wrist. Brand then went over to the thugs' bodies, ripping their shirts off. He then walked over to Deku. He popped Deku's shoulders back in place, then tied his arm into a makeshift cast using the thugs' shirts. He was so ready. He was so sure what to do. Here, he said, handing the gun that was previously pointed at Midoriya's head to Midoriya. Deku was shaking. He couldn't take it. Come on, take it, Brand says. And this too. He then walked over to the bodies and grabbed the dagger that he was using to cut Midoriya free. You know how to use these, don't you? Deku nods his head nervously while straining to move and staring at the body. Brand notices this and says, come on, Izuku, let's go. He hands the knife to him, and that's when the big boss appeared. Shinzo! Hanzo! You're one of them. Brand then quickly grabs Izuku, putting the injured boy on his back. Deku lay tightly on Brand's back, realizing that Brand isn't even all that taller than Izuku. He never really got a good look at his face, but Brand then runs out of the room, dodging the big boss, and runs down the left corridor of the warehouse. Brand was fast. Running down the corridor, he was chased by the big boss. He turns around and claps his hands together, inhaling. He then places his two hands on the ground, exhaling. He yells, "Eruption! Lava floor!" The ground in the corridor spontaneously erupts into boiling hot magma, stopping the big boss in his tracks. Brand then turns his back around and runs away. That's the end of part 5. Before we start part 6, I want to let you guys know that I've started 2 new accounts on both Instagram and Twitter. If you are interested in them, go follow me. The link will be in the description, where you can see me talk about my new mic, talk about the videos I'm working on, talk about a lot of things that I do in my real life pertaining to anime, pertaining to the Biguchi Taco channel. I know it's a little bit more personal, and I know some of you guys might not be used to this kind of content, but I feel like a lot of you will enjoy it. Also, if you haven't already, you probably have. Check out the All-Star Anime channel, where we will be posting videos very soon. It has been kind of a delay because everybody has been kind of caught up with school, work, and all that kind of stuff, but we've finished a couple videos and we do want to post them. Anyway guys, I don't want to take up any more of your time. Let's get into part 6. Part 6. He runs. Meanwhile, the big boss raises the warehouse alarm, telling all the members that they were intruders. Brand fought through this, leaving a trail of bodies, and came to the exit where the big boss met him face to face. I can't let you leave after what you've done, the big boss says. The big boss then activates his quirk, Mass Gain. This allows his body to grow in size and height disproportionately, meaning that the big boss was tall but huge. You're not leaving. Brandon puts Midoriya down to fight the big boss. Brand says with a smile, I guess I'm gonna have to get serious. Deku saw it. His black. He's around 5'4". That's shorter than Izuku. He had to be around the same age as Deku, maybe even younger. And he was smiling, looking at this massive challenge. Deku then notices his wounds from the gunshot. A piece of Brand's ear was blown off, and Brand had a wound near his bladder, leaking blood. Brand got in a fighting stance. He stomps the ground, and it crumbles under the pressure of his quirk, Eruption. He can create volcanic eruptions by putting force on many objects. He can also control the heat and bits of rock. Brand then, with a very Bakugo-like eruption of hot magma, flew towards his target at top speed, making him use his quirk to slowly damage the big boss, who keeps growing and attacking. Deku wants to help as Brand is being pushed back and is losing, so Deku conjures up a weapon with the little amount of strength and the little amount of focus he had. He spawns a slingshot. Brand, he yells while holding the slingshot. He throws it towards Brand. Brand turns around and heads towards Deku. He catches a slingshot and turns back. Thanks kid, he says. The matchup between David and Goliath then resumes. Brand uses the rocks he had created with the eruptions of lava to launch long-range attacks quickly that uses low power consuming balls of lava at the big boss's head, using the slingshot to sling these rocks quickly. He keeps on doing that, and he's pushing the big boss back by these little annoying attacks. Then he gets the perfect kill shot on the big boss. He pulls back the slingshot as hard as possible and shoots it at the big boss's right eye. The big boss reels in pain until passing out. Deku then runs over to Brand, who's laying on the floor with new wounds. His stomach was now cut deeply, and blood ran out of it, heavily. Deku would place his hand on the wound, looking into Brand's eyes as he smiled. He looked up, knowing he was going to die. Brand, I'm so sorry, Midoriya would say. No, don't be. I couldn't die protecting your father. I'm sorry. This was the least I could do. And with Midoriya crying, Brand looks up into his eyes and slips away into death's embrace. We end with Midoriya looking up in the warehouse, screaming. Anyways, that's the end of the episode. I know this episode was kind of short compared to all the other episodes, but I wanted to end it here. I had a lot of trouble writing this because I wrote this by myself, not with the hype of Ricardo, my writer, because I wanted this series to feel like something from the OG part of the channel. You know what I mean? Not the new, updated part, but the Asta with this. I wanted to feel like the old crime lord. I didn't want, Ricardo's influence on it, so I wrote it myself. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. And yeah, it was really hard. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I tried my best to add some new stuff into there and add some more crime lord elements. If you guys do enjoy this, leave a like. The goal is to get 150 likes on this video. If we don't get 150 likes on it, I'm sorry, but the series will not be continuing, as I'm trying to move my channel in a new direction, focusing on Black Clover and not as much as on My Hero Academia. So I'll be cutting out a lot of the My Hero Academia what ifs I'm doing. Anyway guys, like I said before, check out my social media, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Will all be in the description. Hop in the All-Star recruitment server if you want to be recruited, or if you just want to talk to me, Ryan Trinky, and a bunch of other YouTubers about what ifs. And subscribe to the All-Star Anime channel if you want to see some cool content with just a bunch of cool YouTubers and just us talking, us making what ifs. Just a bunch of cool stuff. And that'll be all for the video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Like I always say at the end of all my videos, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun jazz. Peace.